She was a mechanical leviathan, holding position in the deep Pacific. Her mission, to recover a secret lost for 80 years.
Dr. Sarah Chen had spent 3 years searching the archives. Now, she stood on the brink of the abyss.
Hydraulic clamps released. The sphere swung free. A moment of suspension between two worlds. Then the ocean rose to meet them, swallowing their sphere of light and air.
Marcus Webb guided their descent. His hands were calm on the controls, his eyes on the deepening dark. Life persisted here. Ghostly, luminous creatures materialized in their beams, then vanished into the void. They reached the abyssal plain, 3 miles down, navigating by sound and memory through a desert of mud.
Then, the sonar painted a shadow that was not sediment, something angular, something man-made. U-873, a time capsule and a tomb, preserved by the cold, crushing dark for 8 decades.
Sarah felt a complex weight. This was a grave, but it was also the answer to a historical riddle.
"7 hours on the bottom. Their batteries were finite. Every procedure was a race against the clock of power and oxygen.
They placed acoustic beacons around the wreck. These pings would guide them back to this exact spot on the next dive.
With the work complete for now, Marcus initiated the ascent. The sphere lifted, stirring a vortex of marine snow. The ascent was a mirror of the descent. A controlled climb through zones of increasing temperature and faint, remembered light. "4 hours later, they broke the surface. The world of wind and light felt suddenly, violently vivid. The crane recovered them, bringing the sphere back to the steel embrace of the mothership. 14 hours in a metal sphere. Sarah's legs protested the solid, moving deck, but her mind was already on the next phase. The data was downloaded. High-resolution images of the wreck now covered their screens, a map for the delicate operation to come. On the bottom, the submarine shifted for the first time since 1945. Centuries of sediment surrendered her. Blind in the sediment cloud, they navigated by sonar. The ghostly image showed the wreck breaking free. The ascent was glacial. They raised her through the pitch-black bathypelagic zone, a journey of miles measured in inches.
At 1,500 meters, they hit a problem. A cable twist. A potential stress concentration that could mean catastrophic failure.
The lift halted. The submarine hung in limbo, a decision hanging in the balance of engineering models and human nerve.
We proceed, but we reduce load on cable 2 and increase monitoring.
At 600 meters, they entered a zone of potential human debris. But their path was clear. Only water lay above.
On the 5th day, the dark shape grew in the deep blue, ascending toward the memory of the sun.
U-873 breached the Pacific swell. A phantom returned from the grave, baptized anew in sunlight and salt air. Not a word was spoken on deck. The crew simply stared, bearing witness to the impossible made real.
Cradles took her weight. The cables slackened.
The cleaning began immediately. Before the deep-sea growth could harden in the air, they washed 80 years of accumulation away. Beneath the biological crust, the true hull emerged. Pitted, corroded, but unmistakably the skin of a WW2 U-boat. Sarah worked through the night, her hands on the cold metal. This was archaeology in real time, history under her fingertips.
And there, on the conning tower, the final proof emerged. The painted numbers, faded but...
The ocean kept countless other secrets. But this one, at least, had been gently persuaded to give itself up.
The recovery was over. The voyage home began. But the silent sentinel on deck was a companion now, not a secret.
They sailed east, carrying a piece of the past into a ghost into the future.
The first analysis was biological. Life that had made the submarine its home, thriving in eternal darkness and crushing pressure. The digital model was their roadmap. Every hatch, every weld, every compartment was plotted before the first physical entry.
To preserve any fragile materials inside, they built an environmental cocoon around the submarine's access points.
They worked with the delicacy of bomb disposal experts. The goal was access, not damage. To open a tomb, not violate it.
The wheel turned fully. A sigh of 80-year-old trapped air escaped. The seal between past and present was broken.
The control room materialized from the dark. Instruments for diving, for attacking, for surviving, now silent and still. She moved aft, into the crew's quarters. The cramped bunks, the personal lockers. The heart of the boat, the diesel engines. Once thunderous, now just colossal sculptures.
And then, a hope. A sealed logbook. The submarine's official memory, potentially preserved against the seawater and the years.
The coordinates placed them thousands of miles from their reported loss. The cargo manifest listed not torpedoes, but numbered crates.
This isn't a standard patrol loadout. This is a special transport.
The mystery deepened. U-873 wasn't on a
The search for context began, cross-referencing the crate codes with every known database of late-war German material.
Following the log, they found the forward torpedo room repurposed. The crates were there, still lashed to the deck, remarkably intact.
The crates bore the insignia of ultimate secrecy. Whatever they contained was deemed important.
They would not open them here. Instead, they used an X-ray scanner, hoping to glimpse the contents without physical intrusion.
Zooming in, the truth became chillingly clear. They were not bombs. They were advanced vacuum tubes, precursors to the computer age.
Project Kronos wasn't about a weapon. It was about knowledge. It was an escape route. This was an evacuation, not of people, but of technology.
In the war's final chaos, key minds and their work were being hidden, smuggled out. U-873.
Jesus,
The captain wrote of pressure, of a rendezvous with a Japanese vessel that failed to materialize, and of a slow...
His final entry was dated the day Hitler died. The mission's purpose had evaporated with the Reich. They chose the deep as their tomb.
Her report would rewrite a footnote of history. U-873 was not a lost combatant.
The investigation phase on the ship was complete. The submarine, with its secrets now partially revealed, was prepared for her final journey.
They sailed for port, not just with a wreck, but with a corrected chapter of history. A silent...
The world was waiting. The silent sentinel was about to become a public exhibit, a teacher for generations to come.
The future had finally come, and it did understand. Not with celebration, but with the solemn respect that history demands.
The primary documents were preserved for eternity. Digital copies ensured the story would survive, accessible to any researcher, anywhere.
The findings sent ripples through the historical community. A minor footnote in naval history was now a major case study in late-war Nazi desperation.
She wasn't a weapon at the end. She was a library. And her sinking wasn't a defeat, but a deliberate filing of...
The packaging was state-of-the-art for 1945. The tubes themselves were flawless, their glass envelopes clear.
The tubes matched descriptions of components for a theoretical machine, a programmable computer the Nazis hoped would break any code, design any weapon. If built, such a machine could have changed the war's technological trajectory. Its burial at sea may have altered history more than any battle.
The what if was staggering. But so was the reality. This path of inquiry had been sealed in a steel...
A week later, they honored the men. Not for the regime they served, but for their shared fate as sailors lost to the sea.
A year on, U-873 was no longer a mystery, but a landmark. A place where the public...
Sarah saw the story passing to a new generation. The Sentinel was silent, but its interpreters gave it a voice.
She returned to the ocean's edge, not as a hunter of secrets, but as a witness. She remembered the feeling of leaving port, the gamble of years of work on a single, fragile hope in the deep.
The success forged a new path. Sarah's work shifted from pursuit to stewardship, guiding the next wave of deep-sea explorers.
Her gaze was already turning to new depths, new silences. The ocean's story was infinite.
The metal was the same, but its meaning had evolved. From target to tomb to artifact to teacher. She didn't look back. The work was done. The silent sentinel was home, and so was she.
The circle closed, and a new one began.
The greatest legacy of U-873 was not...
And the ocean, as always, remained, keeping its countless other stories in the quiet.
Some things, she believed, belonged to the ocean. A small piece of U-873's ecosystem was returned to the depths from which it came.
The legacy was digitized. Now, anyone could explore the wreck without ever getting wet.
Her personal account joined the historical record, a first-hand narrative of doubt, pressure, discovery, and the human cost of archaeology. The crew had scattered to other ships, other projects, but they remained bound by the shared memory of pulling a ghost from the abyss.
The museum contextualized the find. It wasn't about glorification, but about mapping the twisted,
Sarah was back where she belonged, not chasing a known target, but prospecting in the unknown, comfortable with the rhythm of search.
The feeling was the same. Whether it was history or biology, the deep ocean always delivered the...
Two kinds of sentinels. One guarding a human past. The other, a planetary present.
They returned to the site, not to take, but to remember. To acknowledge the deep as both a great...
The ship was a new community, a floating village of curiosity.
Their tools were for listening, for tasting the water, for gentle mapping. This was a mission of study, not extraction.
The first scouts were robots. They would map Site Alpha in detail, sending back data before any human ever laid eyes on it.
It was too perfect. Geology rarely makes perfect circles. The anomaly suggested something else.
It's a pit crater, possibly a mud volcano. But at this depth, the chemistry could be unique.
The hypothesis shifted.
The torch was passed. Sarah was there as an advisor, a guide. The hands on the controls belonged to the next generation.
Ascent was a familiar ritual, but the destination was unknown. This was the essence of pure exploration.
The pit stared back, a dark eye in the seafloor. The shimmer was its breath, a wisp. They entered the throat of the seamount. The pressure increased, the darkness deepened. They were descending into the planet itself.
They returned to the surface world of color and change, carrying evidence of a world that knew neither.